right, everyone. We're joined today by man I've known for a long time. He was not actually a Northeast Twin. He never actually got to play for us, but he was one of the OGs back when we first started and one of our workout guys. Is Evan Ryan. He's from Olean, New York. Went to Erie Community College and then St. John's Fisher, where he's currently an assistant baseball coach at Fisher. Like I said, we've had him from way back in the day. Originally, when I first started doing any type of travel ball, his younger brother Zach, the OG twin ZR, played for us, and Evan was always
The day one.
yeah, he was like the day one original guy. So
Yeah.
he you were always around, and then like anytime like I would be like, "Hey, you want to jump in and hit?" Like you were always ready to go. Like it was never like, "Oh, I didn't bring my stuff." Like you're always in there
Yeah.
ready to go. I remember we'd be up at like the Spartans practice, and I'd be doing stuff. My dad would be like in the cage with like you and Chance, like not supposed
Yep.
to be using it, just in there doing stuff. So you were always there. Then Big Jimbo got our workout set up in Olean.
Yep.
You've always had like a desire to get better. Like I was always like the first thing I noticed about you, like always a focus on working and getting better. And you made yourself into a really good player. Not that you weren't, good and talented, but like I think you always did a really good job of working and maximizing your ability. So was that something that you always kind of took pride in, was just, outworking people?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, growing up playing for your dad and stuff, like you're always pushed harder than the other kids on your team, because like he was my little league coach and growing up, like that was always something. We'd go to the field an hour early before the games. I remember when I got my first brand new little league bat, like I broke the bat in like a whole hour before the game. And then I ended up I was bleeding, my hands were bleeding because I had blisters on my hands. And that was my first little league home run, was that game, like that we went. But that was always something my dad, preached, was like getting there early, to get ready and putting in the extra work. So yeah, I feel like I was always undersized. I wasn't a big kid, so I was always willing to put in the work. Obviously, you guys were very knowledgeable about baseball, and I was thankful that we were able to come in contact. I know our dads played played slow pitch or fast pitch or whatever when they were growing up too.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know about you like back in the day when you were, playing high school ball, big 30 and stuff like that. But um, I knew you were a good athlete, and really just taking what you were, telling us and being able to like use those things to like help you get better on your own as well.
Right. And that's
So
what, like, you were always very coachable. I remember, because your senior year, right, when I met you.
yeah, it was my senior year, or if not like that fall, after my, junior year or something.
Right.
But
So, uh, you know, you were already a pretty good player. Like, you're a senior. You had been on varsity since you're a freshman. You're a starter. You're a shortstop. You're hitting top of the order. Like, you're a good player. But you always were very receptive to coach. I remember you guys went to Myrtle Beach or down to South Carolina.
yeah, we took you with us, I think, right?
And your dad called me. He was like, "Hey, you want to go to South Carolina?" Because he was going to drive down. He already had the room and stuff. And I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't doing anything. I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll go." So we went
Yeah.
down, and I remember the one game. I remember us like very like vividly, like the first game. You got like a backhand in the hole, like deep at short, and you tried like falling away and throwing. And
Yeah.
I was after the game. I talked to you about like you're better off setting your feet because you get a lot more on it and throw. And I remember you being like, "Well, I just feel like I wouldn't. Like that's taking up too much time to like set my feet and like power step." I'm like, "Dude, just trust me." And the very next game, you got this same exact ball and caught it, and you could like see yourself like, "All right, I got a power." And you power step and like hose the guy out, but like just got him, and like
Yeah.
like that ability to accept coaching and stuff was always um, something that not a lot of kids do. I only understand how important it is. Like if you find someone you trust and that's knowledgeable at the game, like taking that and at least like trying it, like maybe you tried that right there and the kid was still safe and you didn't feel like it was, but at least you're like um were willing to accept, like to try it
Yeah.
and stuff. So
Try to see if the outcome was different.
right. So is that something like you've always want like kind of tinker with? Like if you're getting new info, you want to try to incorporate that in your game?
Yeah, for sure. Like kind of like what you were saying, just like being able to, take that information. I think it really helped me, just to, bring my game to like a whole nother level. And actually, like my last summer when I was playing for Olean, uh, me and me and Bubba, we got thrown out. We got thrown out of that game, and we were calling ourselves the Bass Brothers. But some umpire, I remember his name too, Ethan. He like punched me out, like running down first base or whatever. Anyways, we were suspended for 2 games, so like we'd be up in the box, and that whole week we were like talking about um we were watching Josh Donaldson videos. That was like the first year that like Josh Donaldson um had those videos like on MLB Network, and he's
Right.
talking about his separation and load of his scap, and talking about the rubber band and stuff like that. And I remember I was hitting really well. I was hitting the ball hard, but I was lining out to the shortstop, lining out to second, and I was trying to figure out a way to like get a little more power. Um, so me and Bubba, like that whole week, like in BP, like we were helping each other out. We watched the videos, so even in terms of that, you know, obviously you guys helped me with a solid foundation, but like I was always eager to like just try to find ways that I could maybe tweak a couple of things with my swing, um, and just get to that next level.
Right.
And I think I had my best year hitting my senior year at Fisher, and I never had a leg kick before really. And that was a big part of it. But I think the biggest part was like you said, what you guys did for me was more. I think I made a jump my senior year was the knowledge about the mental side of hitting, like knowing counts, knowing, obviously we worked a lot going away, going middle, going in, working on those little things, and essentially fundamentals of it. And then, it just kind of grew from there, working on it every day.
Right. That's we always tell the story, and you brought up the Oilers, playing for the Oilers. Um, I don't know what, I think it was maybe your second year there after your sophomore year,
Yep.
and we had put together. It was fucking stupid loaded. I mean, and not that you weren't a good player, but like you're playing an ECC and like the guy's hitting behind you. If it's Mike hitting behind you who went to Florida.
Yeah.
Mark
Yeah.
was there. Cole's with the fucking Double A with the Tigers now. Aaron's in Double A with the Giants. Like Bubba's with the Marlins.
Bizzle got drafted.
Like this team is just loaded with talent, and
Yeah.
me and my dad always talk. We bring this up all the time. We use as an example where championship game, where you guys won it all. The first inning, I don't know if it was you or Cole threw somebody out at third, and the leadoff batter tried stretching a double into a triple.
Yeah. It was against Soniana. I threw him out from
You threw him out, so bad
shallow
base
right
on
field.
his part, and then you capitalized and threw him out. And then in the top of the first, Sammy got on, and you bunted, and you had a shit bunt back to the pitcher, and they threw him out at second, and you beat out the relay to throw to first, and instead of pouting and putting your head down and just going back to first, you kept your eyes up. They vacated second. You took second. I think it was Aaron got a blue pit, and you guys were up 1-0, which is huge in a championship game. To have like a little advantage. So just that ability to always be locked in, to fight through failure. Is that something you always had, or is that something you picked up along the way? Like learning that baseball's a game, you're gonna fail all the time, and like you gotta you can't like dwell on shit. You gotta be able to have a short-term memory and get over stuff. Is that something you got through experience, or you kind of always had?
I think it's a little bit of both. Um, my dad always talked about being mentally tough, and obviously playing baseball, like you said, it's a game of failure. So I kind of live by like trying not to be too high and too low.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was kind of my personality anyways. Like you know, on a lot of the teams I played, like I had to be the leader, but I wasn't a vocal leader. Like I was a leader that, you know, led by example, that, you know, always hustled, always, you know, did the extra, went the extra mile for my teammates, stuff like that. So, um, a little bit of both. And, you know, as you gain experience, I think, you know, if you learn from those experiences, you're able to, you know, just continue to build off of what you've already accomplished or done, you know. So, but yeah, that I remember that bunt vividly. And your cousin
Yeah,
Luke Weitzel, which that year was great because we had a strength and conditioning guy there that didn't have to be there, wasn't getting paid,
right.
you know, just loved baseball and had a lot of knowledge just like you do, and your dad and your uncle. And that was something I can't even like begin to describe, like how many times I heard that. Like he brought that up multiple times, like every single day in the summer.
Right.
And like it hadn't happened, it hadn't happened, it hadn't happened. And like we talked about it, like when you sacrifice bunt, like the two middle guys, if they're not paying attention, no one's covering second base,
Yeah.
you probably could take the extra base. And you know, I happened to be able to have that opportunity come up, and it was kind of funny. Like, you know, I give all the credit to Luke because that was awesome.
Yeah. So I want to go back real quick to like we kind of jumped around a little bit, but back to like your senior year in high school recruiting. Nothing had really you hadn't had a time pickup. We kind of got you in touch with Pitt Bradford, and you were going to go there because it was getting pretty late. You know, it was
Yeah.
late in the spring and summer, but I could always tell like you weren't really like 100%. This is what I want to do. So we kept going trying to find these schools and stuff, and we worked out for Mercyhurst Northeast, and then this is like what I love about baseball. Like so many recruiting stories happen like this. We're playing at Wellsville, and uh, the coaches from ECC, from Erie Community College, came down to watch Big Bill pitch and
Yeah.
to see you. We went up on the turf football field for you to take ground balls because like BP was going on, and then you hit in the cage, and that's how everything got set up with ECC. So talk about like just real quick why you wanted to. What was the reason you wanted to go to ECC over like something like Pitt Bradford?
I loved Coach Butler at Pitt Brad. It was obviously close to home. My mom was really pushing for it so she could come watch my games. I wasn't too far away.
Yeah.
Um, I remember when you got in contact with Pensacola State and
Oh
down
yeah.
in Florida,
Yep.
and I was like, yeah, we're just gonna leave that out of the question because like my mom will not let me. She
Yeah.
will not let me go down there. But yeah, just you know, I went on a visit. You know, it looked like 13th grade. You know, I was satellite campus in Williamsville, New York, and I knew they had a really good program. There's a couple kids around the area that went there in the last couple years. They were always really good,
Yeah.
but winning 30 games a year, playing in regional championships and stuff. Um, and I always wanted to like kind of bet on myself. I always went to Bonnet Camp. I, you know, hope to play D1 just like every kid wants to, or, you know, play MLB baseball. And, you know, that gave me the opportunity to get better and, you know, really get experience playing as a freshman and, you know, playing a lot of games and stuff like that. So I wasn't really intrigued, you know, in terms of the program at Pitt Brad. So I actually like told Coach Bouth that I wanted to sign like when I was on my visit. And I remember like getting in the car and my mom was just like devastated. Like she she was happy for me, but she was like set on like me being 30 minutes away, and you know, I was her first kid, so it was hard I think for her in terms of that, like letting me go, trying to, you know, live my life and, you know, get to, you know, where I want to be. But I think at the end of the day it was the right decision, and You know, I played a lot there, and you know, it was great. Um, and it obviously ended up at Fisher. I was actually interested in Fisher out of high school, but Coach Potter never got back in touch with me. So
Do you think you were ready for that, or do you think that was really beneficial for you to go to ECC?
I think it did me a lot, being able to play right away.
Right. And
Um,
then you played a decent amount your freshman year. Not you didn't start every game, but it wasn't like you sat the bench. You know, you played a decent amount. Do you think you got a lot of benefit of playing in the summer with the Oilers and playing every day? And even if you're not playing every game, you're you're out there, you're taking BP every day, taking ground balls every day. You're around like a higher level of baseball than you were, in high school. You like a year of college in your belt, and then you go back as a sophomore. Did you feel a lot more ready that sophomore year than your freshman year?
yeah, absolutely. Um, I always tell kids this, even like when I'm recruiting them now at Fisher, um, and some of the kids that we have at our school. My biggest jump I felt was that first summer out of college or in college,
Yeah.
because you're hitting every day. Now I wasn't nearly as good as most of the kids on that team my first summer, but I hit every day. I fielded ground balls every day. And then when I got in game action, you know, the talent at that time was pretty good. You know, there was guys all over the place, but um,
That first year in Olean, that was like the worst team we've had. Right? Was that the first year?
yeah, it started out. I ended up playing with Mike Roman, but that was the infamous first year in Bradner Stadium.
Right.
We called back. Mike, they said Mike Roman missed third base. We walked him off. I think it was Niagara Power,
Yeah.
but yeah, we had a rough year. We were like 16 and
30.
30 something, I think. Yeah,
I remember that year I wanted to be involved with the roster, but that was the first year we had the blueprint, and I wasn't coaching that much. And then my mom passed away, so like I wasn't that involved. And then it went shitty, and I just did not want to be associated with like anything shitty. So I
yeah,
told them, I was like, I'm putting the roster together for the next year, and that's when I got like Cole and B Schlim and Bubba, like all those guys that like I was like, fuck this, like we're gonna win this shit next year. And that was what was kind of sparked that. I just did not want to be associated with a team that was like 16 and 30. Like that was not something I wanted to be a part of. So
yeah. It was a rough year, but the next year, we ended up winning it, and then the following year, obviously, um, had a really good year. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
so your sophomore year, you have success. You have a lot of team success. You guys go to regionals, win the first two, um, one game away. And I think
Six outs.
you had a lead pretty late in the game.
Yep.
You lost to Herkimer, which is a really really good JUCO program in New York.
Yeah.
Um, and then you move on to St. John's Fisher. Kind of what was that second recruiting process like? And did you feel more comfortable? Like, did you feel better informed about making a decision since you already went through recruiting one time before?
Yeah, it was more like I had been through it. Now I needed to know, you know, what I had to figure out obviously what I wanted to do for my schooling.
Yeah.
You know, that was a big thing. Like obviously the diploma is obviously the most important thing and the education. So um Fisher came really late. It was after we lost at Herkimer, and I did take a couple of visits that summer while I was playing for the Oilers. I went to like a D2 school out in West Virginia. Um, Literally middle of nowhere, like one stop, one yellow
You got,
light.
you got too
Didn't
many
even
teeth
have
to be in West Virginia too.
what?
You got too many teeth to be in West Virginia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I was just there. I'm riding back home with my dad. My dad drove me up, and you know he's always been a part of my athletic career, like for when I can remember. So you know, I wanted his opinion on like what he thought. And you know, he's we're driving back, and you know, Jimbo, he's just
Yeah.
like what the fuck are you gonna do here,
I
dude?
can just see him being like, because he'd have like his hat with his sunglasses on top, and then his like reading glasses like
Yeah,
up there too, and
yep,
like all excited, be like, "What the fuck are you gonna do here?"
yeah, exactly. You know, and they were offering me a little bit. athletically, but you couldn't like combine academic and athletic for some reason. So it was like 3 grand athletic, and I was gonna end up getting, depending on financial aid and everything, like anywhere from like 9 to 12. Which it wasn't really an expensive school, but the other thing my dad brought up was like just the school wasn't really well known. It was Salem International. So in terms of like your degree and stuff,
Yeah.
that on paper, where especially around here, like what's that going to mean to some of these businesses around here? So,
Right.
um, then the following week, I actually got reached out to by Coach Boff from ECC. Coach Potter had emailed him asking if there was any sophomores that were unsigned. So he told us to reach out to him. So I did, and um, got in contact with him. He called me right away. I remember being at the house, and he asked if I could talk, and I said yeah, and he called me like immediately. So they were a really good program. They had a lot of good talent, and I remember him telling me like he knows they're going to be good this year. Like he just needs someone to come in and play defense, which is obviously something that I love to do.
Right.
That was my knack. Like I was really good defensively. I was all right at hitting. Like um, grinded at bats out, but like you know, I was like, yeah, I mean, I can do that. So and I wanted to win. That was a big thing. So um, yeah, they
So
had a sport management program at Fit.
right. So you find a good fit there, and you guys go to the College World Series your first year out in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Really good team you were on. Have a lot of success. You've always been kind of around, like you've always been successful. Your high school teams were good. ECC, you guys were good. The Oilers, you were good. Fisher, you were good. And part of that is, you're like what my uncle Brad always talks about, and I'm talking about now, is you got to find like winning players, like guys that do stuff that help you win, that are locked in defensively, that aren't making mistakes, that are grinding out at bats. Maybe you're not getting a hit, but if you're up there and you're hitting ninth and you make the dude throw 10 fucking pitches and he has to battle just to get you out, and then the leadoff hitter comes up and he makes a mistake and boom, it's a triple or something, like that's partly because of what you did and grinded it out. So um do you take a lot of pride in that, about doing little things, and are you trying to instill that now in your players that you're coaching?
Yeah. Um, I was big on the little things. I talk about it with our players all the time. Um, Even like in fall ball when they don't think it really matters. But that team when we went to the World Series, it was laser focus. Fall ball was intense. We're trying to get everything out of every day that we can. Um, but yeah, that's always been something that I just like. I hate losing, man. Like I love winning, and I know you guys have it in your blood too. But like, because I've seen you coach Zach, obviously, I've been around you guys, and um, yeah, it's just like I love winning, but like I hate losing so much more. Like I just can't, like I can't deal with it, man. It's
Yeah.
like, um, but yeah, it's just something like I'll work you to just be successful. Like I want to be better than the person across from me.
Right.
I'll go through whatever I got to go through to do it.
Yeah.
So
So you finish up at Fisher. You get your 4 years, and you got a little bit of school left. So you coach a little bit as a student assistant. Then you get into some travel ball stuff in the Rochester area. Now you're back. You're your assistant coach at St. John's Fisher, um, and I don't know exactly. I've been on both sides as being an assistant coach in a lower level college, and I've been a travel ball guy. The money's probably about the same. What was it about coaching in college that you enjoyed, that it drew you back to that? Because the schedule's more, you got to do a lot more. You're at work more, stuff like that. So what was it about that drew you back to it?
um, I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I got done playing, and we were in Cape Cod my senior year for the regional, and I was playing alongside my second baseman was a freshman, and his dad played pro ball, and kid's a great player. He's actually going to come back for a fifth year. His name's Justin Graham, preseason All American this year. He uh, he was just a young freshman, and I was a senior, and I had to play with him the whole year. So we lost in the regional against Babson, and obviously you're saying bye to your teammates. You're thanking them for everything that you guys went through together, and um, he came up to me and was like, thank you for everything you did for me. I learned a lot from you this year, and like that kind of just like hit home, dude. Like it's like this kid like so good. Like I knew he was gonna be good. Uh, first team all conference freshman coming in with a baby face, and he knew it already. Like his dad, he grew up playing for his dad, and he was already knew a lot. And for him to tell me that like I helped him, you know, to become a better player, like that kind of hit home for me. And then um, I was like helping Potter out with the summer camp that summer. I was coaching for you. Um, I got into it early, coaching that 16U team with you,
Right.
and I liked it. And yeah, coach mentioned something, asked me if I wanted to help out in the fall, and I told him, yeah, definitely, because I was just finishing school up. So yeah, that's kind of really what got me into it. Um, I knew I loved baseball. I was really passionate about it. But now, like moving forward, like I think it's definitely something I want to do. I've obviously, like you said, I've worked in travel. I've also, helped out at Fisher. I really think, you know, it's something to work towards, but it'd be pretty cool to be like a head coach one day, you
Yeah.
know. So, I'm in a good, successful program right now, so I'm just trying to learn as much as I can, from Coach Potter, and uh, see where it takes me.
Right. So that was my thing. Like, I miss, like, in college, like when I was coaching at Gulf Coast, you get really high level players. Like, we had fucking dudes, like guys drafted fourth round, shit like that, like going to D1 schools. So the baseball, like that part of like coaching really good players, and like the strategy of like a really close conference game, and it's 3-2 in the ninth inning. You don't know whether to pull the guy or bring your closer in, or like that's fucking cool. Like it's like an actual chess match. Like it's real baseball, but you're working like the hours are a lot. And then
Yeah.
well, I missed that part. And then like travel ball, it's good. I'm home a lot more. I'm around obviously with the kids now.
Yep.
We deal with a lot of bullshit. Like I'll send an email out. Here's our schedule for the weekend. Like blah blah blah. And then like half the parents text you and say like, "What time's the game at?" And I'm like, "That's in the It's,
Yeah.
you deal with a lot of shit." But like, and then at the end of the day, you get a text from a kid that's like, "Hey coach, just want to let you know I'm committing to blah blah blah, and I thank you. It's like you had a big part of it, whatever." And it's like it's all worth it right there. So like it's
Yep.
like both sides of it are cool. I could definitely see you being more on the college side because of your competitiveness and like
Yep.
and the strategy. Like I said, the strategy of it and trying to work and compete more than like mine's like more the player development side. And obviously that's you're doing that, but and we like to win at the same time. But like
Yeah.
it's like the player development is the most important part. So um, yeah, it's crazy how like it's so close. Like you get the kids like 1 year after I got them, but it's like the goals and everything is so much different. It's nuts.
Yeah. And I like we were talking about earlier, like, I've always had a knack for like fundamentals. So like
Yeah,
especially at the youth level, like that's something I really take pride in too. And um it's a challenge because each kid's different and each kid responds a different way. And some kids might be more advanced in terms of getting technique things that you're trying to teach them. So that's challenging, but it's also fun, and the kids make it a good environment, to be around. And yeah, it's just I definitely definitely think I would be better off, in college too. But it's nice to see both sides of it for sure.
right. How much do you enjoy recruiting?
Uh,
When I fucking did it, I thought it was
you
awesome.
Yeah, I do love it.
Yeah,
I love driving around. That's like one thing I always liked. I don't know why, but
yeah,
I love driving.
yeah.
So, he'll send me to New Jersey. Coach Potter will send me to the Diamond Nation, which I've never been to. I went there this summer. It's 5 turf fields out in New Jersey, a lot of good competition. Um, but yeah, it's fun. I like it.
I
I'm new
just feel
to
like
it.
when you get a kid to commit, like you just like beat everybody else that's like trying to recruit for him. It's like that's like the little bit of competition part. It's like
Yeah,
it's just cool to it was like especially then like you like with me at the 2 year school, it was cool because like you identify the kid as being good, you recruit him, he visits, you get him to commit, he comes there, you help develop him, he helps you win games, then you help him get a place to play for you. Like it's really cool like to be like a
yeah,
part of that like journey through and stuff.
yeah. Like obviously, I'm really new to it too, so
Right.
like I'm kind of going on the fly. And one thing like I've been trying to tell myself is like I don't really like obviously I know the game. I haven't really done recruiting, but like I'm kind of learning from coach and kind of trial and error, but I'm trying to like stay true to like what I know, like I'm gonna give an evaluation. There obviously when you go to those recruiting events, there's a lot of coaches there,
Yeah.
but like, you know, I'm just going with my gut in terms of like if I think the kid can play or not. And I actually got a kid. I don't know if you're familiar with Field Level. I know you
Yeah.
help out with PBR, but
Yeah.
um, I got a kid from Texas, uh, punt returning football player, center fielder, left-handed hitter. So I'm really excited. Obviously, with everything going on, I hope we get back to normal soon. But he's going to be a freshman this year, so I'm really excited to work with him. And that was my first commit. It was pretty cool to get him and uh, excited to coach him. For the
Right.
next couple of
Yeah,
years.
it's crazy. I remember exactly the first kid like I was sent to scene. I remember like the first time I called him. I remember the first kid that like visited, first kid that committed. Like it's crazy. Like it's just cool. Like I said, like to kind of be a part of their journey, like coming like finding kids and like having them come up through. I think one thing you kind of touched on is, and I learned this, and I kind of was always like this, but like the more like you can't because like college coaches will talk a little bit and like you can kind of get a sense of who they think's good, but like I always went with just like what I thought in my gut instead of worrying about like, oh, this guy's good, this guy's good. I'm like, well, I don't think he's good, or they don't think he's good, and I do. Like, I'm the one that's gonna have to coach him. I'm gonna if I don't think he's good, I ain't gonna start recruiting him. That's
Yeah,
so just trusting that gut and the instincts, and obviously, I'm betting you'll probably end up being like me and my dad and stuff. Like you're recruiting the kid like his work habits and stuff like that. As much as you are how talented he is, like you need guys that want to get in there and grind and get better.
yeah. That's the number one thing right there. And the ability to you can't really tell how they're gonna react to pressure situations or dealing with failure. But that's the great thing about you know seeing them in fall ball and stuff like that. You'll have a really good player in the fall, and then you think you got someone, and then spring season comes around. The pressure takes over, and it's hard for them. So that's always like the question mark too, trying to find those kids that really are gamers and they love to grind and they love to work hard, when no one's watching.
Right. I think that's like I always thought about this like now that I've went like I'm kind of removed from it. Like if I was to ever coach in college again and I was recruiting, I think the biggest thing I would ask kids is like, how much do you like baseball? Like how much do you love baseball and like why? And see what like kind of judge their answer. And that would like be like a huge factor for me, like almost probably more than like obviously you evaluate their talent and like but like to hear like what they say would go a long way whether I wanted to recruit them or not, I think.
Yeah.
So well, I appreciate your time coming on. Like I said, we go way back to the way back days, working
Yeah.
out with Jimbo and ZR and Chance and all those guys in the fitness center. So always
Yep.
like watching you play and and watching develop like your dedication and your work habits and being able to be coached and stuff. So Now I'm really excited to have you at Fisher, and we can push kids up there and try to get
Have a
them.
little,
And we
have a
know
little have a little pipeline to St. John Fisher.
exactly. We got to keep. Well, we got it going pretty good.
Yeah, we do.
We had you and
Um,
Zach,
Irving.
Murph, and Sean, and then Bynum was there now, and we got Curvin going there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we hopefully keep that going, and I'm sure you guys will treat them right. So, but like I said, I appreciate you coming on and everything, and always liked coaching you, and appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. It was great to work with you and everything that you guys are doing, with the Northeast Twins. Um, I personally think it's, one of the best things around that area in terms of getting kids to college if that's what they want to do. So
Right.
run a good program, and thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon. So, like I said, thanks again for coming on and sharing your kind of story and what you're doing now as a coach. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah, you too.